always forget to mute that. Welcome back, everybody. Today's movie review is Evil Dead Rise. It is written and directed by Lee Cronin and stars a bunch of newcomers like Mirabai Pease, Richard Crouchley, Lily Sullivan, Anna Marie Thomas, Noah Paul, Alyssa Sutherland, and guess what? They're all amazing. Now, I have a pretty recent relationship with the Evil Dead franchise. I'm a decent fan of it. Like, they're all really fun movies. I will say that. I haven't seen the 2013 remake, which is kind of like the official remake. This is just a continuation of the story, but there's no Ash, there's no Bruce Campbell. There's still the spirit of them. I've seen the original three, I just haven't seen the 2013 one. So going into this movie, you guys know I'm a horror fan. I just hate getting scared. I like good horror movies. I don't actively seek them out. I'm not subscribed to Shudder. I haven't seen, VHS 9 or whatever. I feel like horror fans, I don't want to say they gatekeep, but they're very protective of their things, and it's like with any other fandom where it's like, oh, you're a horror fan? Have you seen XYZ on, Laserdisc from 1983 that was never released to the public? No, I haven't. I like horror movies that I've seen, but I admit that I miss a lot of them. I haven't seen any of the Conjuring movies. What's the other one with Patrick Wilson? I haven't seen any of those. I can't even think of Insidious. I haven't seen any of the Insidious movies. I haven't seen Annabelle or Ouija or any of those. I've seen Malignant, and I've seen this movie. And I've seen other, I've seen Get Out, and I see horror movies. I don't need to defend myself. I'm here to review Evil Dead Rise. So Evil Dead Rise is basically a one-location movie. It's an apartment in LA. Lily Sullivan plays Beth. She is visiting her sister, played by Alyssa Sutherland, who is Ellie. And Ellie has 3 kids, and they're living in a rundown apartment that is going to be torn down in exactly a month, and they're slowly moving out. An earthquake hits, and it opens up a pothole in the garage, and one of the kids finds the Book of the Dead, the Necronomicon, and some of the records of the original recordings of the guy reading the incantations. He accidentally plays it on his speakers because he's an aspiring DJ, and you guys know what happens next. And what happens next is basically, I'll say 80 minutes of insanity. And when I say that, people said that about Mad Max, people said that about John Wick, when really there's a lot of downtime in both of those movies. And there's a little bit of downtime in these, but once the demon comes out after the Necronomicon is read, stuff does start happening, and starts happening really fast. And I want to start with Alyssa Sutherland, who gives an amazing physical performance as the possessed mom in this movie. She is so good in this movie. I can't believe, I'm looking at her work right now. She's definitely worked before, but man, I guess she's in Vikings is her big one. And in The Mist too, the TV show. I never saw that. But I know Vikings is very highly rated. So I guess they're not exactly newcomers. Maybe movie newcomers, I should say better. But man, she is so good in this film, y'all. And I feel like people take these horror performances for granted. Obviously, the big one is Toni Collette in Hereditary, who, everyone wanted to get her nominated for an Oscar, and unfortunately she wasn't. But just the physicality of her performance as she's acting possessed, as she's saying the most unhinged, diabolical stinker things. I mean, my friend Cameron were they're just the Deadites. They're just little stinkers. They're just mean. They're just mean. And her performance cannot be understated. Another great performance is Gabrielle Eccles as Bridget. She really surprised me too. And the youngest daughter, Nell Fisher as Cassie, also gives a really good performance. Everybody's really good in this movie. It's a tiny cast. There's a few neighbors that are what me and my dad call DDPs, designated dead people, but they are good cannon fodder, and the way they get killed is brilliant. One of my favorite moments of the movie is watching all the neighbors die. And come on, it's not a spoiler, guys. You see non-main characters in a movie, they're gonna die. I won't tell you how they die or when they die. It's great though. I had such a fun time in this movie, going from really good scares to laughing out loud. And that's what you look for in an Evil Dead movie. You want to be scared, but then when something ridiculous happens, or something super gory happens, or a great death, which there are quite a few of in this movie, happens, you laugh out loud. It's a way of easing that tension somehow, and it really works. And this goes hand in hand for me with Scream 6, which I also really enjoyed, surprisingly, because I was not a big fan of Scream 5, where the crowd was really into it, the kills were great, the gore is great, the makeup and the special effects are tier 1 in this movie, and this is what you're going for. And when I say this is what you come to an Evil Dead movie, I don't mean that in a way of like, oh, let me excuse the flaws of this movie and this other stuff makes up for it. You know, some of that is true, maybe like in Scream, and no shade to Scream, but some of the performances are really corny. The reveal is kind of like, you know, I'll let it slide, even though that part didn't really make sense. I'm not saying any of this makes sense because you're dealing with demons and deadites and possessions and the Necronomicon, but for this world, everything seems to line up, and there's really no dumb horror movie decisions in this movie, and I really like that. No one is stupid. Everyone catches on like, okay, mom seems to be possessed, and it might be because of that book you uncovered. What did you do? And I like that. I like that people catch on and figure stuff out quickly and don't make stupid horror movie decisions. I never was frustrated with any of these characters, where I'm frustrated with some of the characters in Scream where they're like, we need to stick together. Anyways, you guys go high, we'll go low, we'll stay down here, we'll separate. I'm going to keep an eye on you, but I'm going to go in the other room. It's like, no, stop doing that. What are you doing? But I really enjoyed this movie. It is 90 minutes of basically wall to wall, just adrenaline. You are going to be tired after this movie, and I will say that much. You will be tired. You will be worn out, but in the best way possible. You're going to take a big, deep breath when the credits finally roll, and that's what you want from an Evil Dead movie. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed my review. Subscribe to Patreon, guys. They got this a few days early. You might be seeing this on Monday or Tuesday. I'm going to try and go see... I want to go see Beau is Afraid, and I want to go see Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. Those are the other two big movies that got released this weekend. I'll try and get those out as soon as possible, y'all. Have a good night, guys. Bye-bye!